So I wanted to talk about the Cambridge CELTA because I often see online people talking about what's better, a TEFL or a CELTA. And so you will find a lot of TEFL certificates online that are available that you can, pay $50, €60, $40, what have you. You can pay and do the whole thing online. And each TEFL certificate has their own brand. So Cambridge CELTA is just the Cambridge brand of TEFL certificate. So it is a certificate for teaching English as a foreign or second language, and it's the Cambridge brand of TEFL. So why is the CELTA important? It's important because it's widely recognized, especially where I live in Europe. I've lived in quite a few European countries, and it's very well known, and especially like language schools, language centers, they will ask if you have the CELTA. So pretty much here in Europe, everyone knows what it is. Anyone in like the language teaching field, they know what the CELTA is, and it's very well known and respected. So some people wonder, is it worth it to take the CELTA? And I would say it depends on what your goals are. If you want to do this as a career, teaching English as a career, and you want to do it for a long time, then yes, it's worth it to take the CELTA. If you are doing like a gap year and you're going, let's say, to Thailand or Vietnam or Japan or Korea for 1 year because you want to teach English for just 1 year, I don't know if I would recommend it because it is costly. It's very expensive. Perhaps there's another type of online TEFL certificate that you could take that would suffice for what you are wanting to do. So I say it depends on what your goals are. If you want to do this as a career, then I would really recommend taking the CELTA course. So how much does it cost? Well, when I took it, it was about I took it in the UK. I'm Canadian, but I took it in the UK in Belfast in Northern Ireland. And it was about £1,200 that I paid for it. So it's quite pricey. You pay a deposit and then you pay the rest like right before the course starts. So I want to talk about my personal journey with taking the CELTA course. So the first step was an application. So you go online, you figure out where you want to do your CELTA. What school do you want to do it? I had a lot of friends in Northern Ireland, so I knew that I wanted to go there to do the CELTA. I was spending my summers and all my holidays there at the time. So I'm like, I will do it over there in Belfast, and that way I can incorporate it into my summer holiday. I was teaching with like the school system and or like working within the school system in Canada, so I had summers free. So it gave me time to go over to Belfast and take this course. If you want to do it, you can do it full-time or part-time. I chose the full-time, which is 4 full weeks. So 4 weeks full-time. So you start off with the application process, figure out which school. Mine was called International House, Belfast. So I went to their website, I found the application, I filled it out. There's some personal questions. There's some other questions about like teaching style, some grammar stuff. There's a mix of everything on these applications. So go through it, take your time and really like fill it out well. Then you can send it off. You can email it to the school. Then they will give you an acceptance letter if you're accepted. They'll say, yes, you've been accepted to take the CELTA. Are you available for an interview? So I said, yes, I'm available. They didn't say I was accepted to take the CELTA. They said I was accepted to do the interview, the next step. Sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. So I said, yes, I'm available for an interview. So I did the interview. Basically, you just sign on. Mine was on Skype. You talk to someone, you answer some questions. There will be grammar questions. So be aware of this. They will ask you questions and you can type the answer or fill in the answer on like the Skype call. So it was a mix of basically just asking personal questions. Why do you want to take the CELTA course? Like, what are your goals? What are your dreams? Then there's a section where they tell you like what to expect because it's a lot. It's a very intense course. So they want you to know that before you go. And then there's like the grammar part where they kind of test your grammar and your grammar knowledge. After that, after the interview, they'll tell you by the end of the interview if you're accepted to take the CELTA or not. So they told me, yes, you're accepted. And then you can make a down payment. I think mine was like 200 pounds I paid to hold my place. Then they will send you a reading list, supply list, and pre-course task by email. So all of this stuff will be in a follow-up email. The reading list is just like books that you should read before the course starts, or at least have with you. I bought some of them. Some of them I had on Kindle. Supply list, because you have to have your own teaching supplies when you're teaching, because you will be teaching during the CELTA course. So I bought like the putty, I don't know what you call it, I forget the name of it, to put on your flashcards, to put them on the board. I bought whiteboard markers, scissors, hole punch, glue, markers, things like that. So there's a supply list and a pre-course task. The pre-course task is basically, it's a lot of grammar questions, different things. It's quite intense. It's large. It takes a long time. It takes like hours to complete. So really go through that and work through it. It helps to prepare you for the course. So what was it like to start the course? I was really nervous to start because I knew from my research that I would be teaching the day after starting the course. So I was really nervous. So basically my course was like, it was organized like this. I think we were about 12 people and 2 instructors, two tutors. And in the morning was about, it was the instructors teaching us how to teach, basically. Like we were learning all the skills. The afternoon was when we would teach real students. We were divided into 2 groups. So our group of, I believe we were 12, was divided into 2 groups of 6. And the first, so there was like group A and group B. Group A would start and do 2 weeks teaching the beginners, and group B would be teaching intermediate. And then after 2 weeks, we would switch. So whoever was teaching beginners would teach intermediate. Whoever was teaching intermediate would be teaching beginners. So you have experience with both types of students. So in total, you need to complete 8 teaching practices. And this is where you are teaching real students. They're in the class. They're real students who are there to learn. You have to prepare your lesson. They give you the course books. So the course books were supplied, and they really help you. Like there's like an input session where they really like explain quite well like how you should be organizing your lessons. The tutors take time individually with each student, CELTA student, to be like, okay, this is what you should be doing. You're on the right track. You're not on the right track. Like they really help you. So there's 8 teaching practices. You have to do a detailed lesson plan. Like you have to be like, okay, like grammar, pronunciation, what kind of mistakes, what kind of lesson. They usually tell you if it's going to be like a reading lesson, writing, speaking, listening. They'll tell you what type of lesson, and then you create the lesson from the course books. So 8 in total. When you are doing your teaching practice, the other teachers from your group, the CELTA teachers, your classmates, they are judging you. They're watching and they're making notes. After you're finished, after everyone's finished teaching for the day, we discuss like, what did you do well? What did you need to work on? So it's really constructive, but you have to have sort of a thick skin because there is constructive criticism. They will be telling you what you did wrong, and you have to be willing to take it and not take it personally and think about like, okay, well, how can I improve for my next teaching practice? So don't take things personal. That would be my biggest advice, because it can seem quite harsh when people are telling you this was wrong, this could be better. They're not there to like be mean. They're there to help you be a better teacher. So listen to the tutors, listen to the other teachers, the CELTA students, when they're giving their opinions and advice during the input sessions, because it is worthwhile, and you will find that your lessons, your teaching practices improve as you go through the course. There are 4 assignments you need to complete. So I generally would do my assignments on the weekends, and then they were usually due on the Mondays. And so 4 in total. They're different tasks that you have to do. They were very, I will probably make another video like with like more detail about these assignments and what they entail, because they were quite time consuming, we'll say. They weren't difficult, but they were time consuming. You really have to put a lot of time in. The workload of the CELTA. So you're going to start early in the morning. You're going to do your learning in the morning. Then you do an input session with the tutors where they help you prepare for your lessons that you have to teach. Then in the afternoon is just teaching practices. So you're just sitting in a classroom with a bunch of learners, and you're watching your fellow CELTA tutors tutor, and you'll be tutoring as well. And that's in the afternoon. And then at the end, when everyone's finished tutoring, all the CELTA students sit around together and discuss how they felt, what went well. It's a long day. As soon as you go home, you have stuff to do. You're lesson planning, you're making flashcards, you have to make all your own materials, like you are busy. I was getting home quite late. I think I was getting home, I took the train from Belfast to the town I was living in Northern Ireland. I was getting home around 7 p.m. I would eat dinner and I would start right away on my assignments or my lesson planning, making materials, fill in the gaps. You have to make everything yourself. So I was going to bed usually around midnight, waking up super early and doing the same thing the next day. You will not have a life for 4 weeks. This is for sure. It's very intense. The weekends are going to be spent doing your assignments. I would try to at least do one fun thing every weekend. So maybe I'd go for a walk to a castle, or like go for a dinner or something. Try to do something for yourself, but there's not a lot of time, to be honest, when you're doing the CELTA course. So how has it benefited me so far? So I took my CELTA in 2019, and since then I have been teaching English full-time, and it's been amazing. And I don't think I would have had the confidence to do it if I didn't take the CELTA. I did an online TEFL certificate like in 2016. It was great. I mean, it was informative, but it doesn't prepare you like the CELTA does. Like the CELTA really, when you finish, you feel confident, like you're ready to go into a classroom and teach, and to start teaching English, like you really feel like you're ready. And you know, I still have my CELTA book that the tutors made for us that has like how to make your lesson plans. I still use it all the time. So is it worth the money? I would say yes, because you know, now it is currently 2024 as I'm making this video, and I have been asked for my CELTA so many times from different schools that I've worked for. They've asked for a copy of my certificate, or they're just really excited when they find out that you have one. Like, oh, you have the CELTA. Okay, great. That's excellent. Like, so for me, it was definitely worth the money, because I want to continue living abroad. I don't want to return to my home country. So knowing that this is the career that I want to teach English, it was worth it for me. How has it changed my life? It's just made me a better teacher. I think that I was really lacking confidence before I started the course. And by the end of the course, I felt very confident to start teaching on my own. And I mean, if you can get up and teach, you know, students, knowing that you're being judged by your fellow classmates and a tutor, and that they're like watching and judging, you can do it on your own afterwards with ease. So for me, I would recommend the CELTA if you're serious about teaching English, if you want this to be your career for a long time, longer than a year. I would say take the course, spend the 4 weeks of your life just immersed in it, spend the money, and you will feel like a more confident teacher in the end, for sure.